Hi, I'm Maggie Turner, a realtor here with Springs Homes, and today we're going to talk about interest rates and how they affect your buying power. So interest rates, generally speaking, as they change by 1%, affect your buying power about 10%. We're going to get really into that in a second. But first, let's take a look at interest rates over time, historically speaking. So if you look back at 1980, the highest average interest rate that year was 16.35%. It's pretty high. Let's not even talk about what happened in 1981. But let's fast forward. In 1990, the highest average interest rate was 10.56. In 2000, the highest average interest rate was 8.62. In 2010, the highest average interest rate was 5.08. Jump ahead another decade. In 2020, your highest average interest rate was 3.36. And jump ahead to 2022, and so far our highest interest rate, average interest rate per Freddie Mac is 5.3. So I'm sure you're noticing a trend. If you look over time, generally speaking, interest rates have generally gone down. But if you look at each of those years and throughout the decades, they totally fluctuate throughout the years and the decades. And right now, we're sitting at an interest rate that we have seen previously. So even though interest rates were really low around 2020 and in 2021, we're seeing interest rates that look more like a decade previous. So as you can see, interest rates fluctuate over time. And the question is, how does that affect your buying power? So let's dig into that a little bit more. For this example, let's take some basic factors of this loan applicant. So their monthly gross income is $5,000. All right. Their monthly debts, and that's going to be things like your car loan, if you have student loans, things like that. Let's add it all up and let's say that their monthly debts are $2,250. All right, so when we take that number and divide it by the gross monthly income, that gives us our debt to income ratio. And that's 45%, okay? And that's typically speaking, a general max debt to income ratio that lenders are looking for. They usually like to see it lower, but that's the max you can go to. Okay, so that gives us our scenario, all right? So for this particular loan applicant, for this particular loan applicant, we're going to say at a rate of 3.875%, they can have a payment of $1,900, their payment, and that gives them a max purchase price of $380,000, okay? So now we're looking at that buying power difference with your interest rate, okay? So let's change this interest rate by 1%. So at 4.875, and you still want a payment of $1,900, that's gonna change your max purchase price to $345,000. So that is a difference of $35,000, which basically tells us that a 1% change in interest rates, a 1% difference equals about a 10% change in your max purchase price. So you can see in this particular example, when the interest rate jumped up by 1%, your buying power changed by 10%. It reduced it by 10%. That was that $35,000 difference. So I hope you've learned something today about how interest rates affect your buying power. And this isn't just about buyers, this is also about sellers. Sellers need buyers, right? And so sellers have to understand that the buyer pool and the number of potential buyers can totally be affected by what the interest rates are. And when they're volatile, your buyer pool can change within a day, depending on the interest rate change. It's of course very important to stay aware of interest rates and how they're fluctuating and how they impact you as a buyer and seller. If you have more questions about this or want to learn more or talk to us, please give us a call. We're always here to help. This is Maggie Turner with Springs Homes, here to help you navigate the real estate market and all the ways it impacts you.